And for our first story that we got right over here, let us talk about Mario. And in the video game world right now, I mean, everybody knows Mario, of course. In fact, everybody in the world has at least played one Super Mario video game. And especially when it comes to this year, Mario has been doing amazingly. And it's mainly thanks to the release of the Nintendo Switch, where there are many highly acclaimed Mario games that have been released, including Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. There is also Mario and Rabbids, that RPG game where it's pretty crazy, but it is a lot of fun. And of course, the highly praised Super Mario Odyssey. But apparently, the craziness of Mario this year is not ending just yet. Because now Mario is actually going to be getting something that he hasn't had in a very long time, which is actually his own movie. And believe it or not, it is actually going to be from the same people that brought us the Minions. Yes, it's going to be with Illumination Entertainment, people. Now, if I may go and read through my source here in The Hollywood Reporter, it stated that Universal's Illumination Entertainment is nearing a deal with Nintendo to make an animated feature based on the popular Super Mario Bros. Video game, The Hollywood Reporter has confirmed. So that's pretty much all that we know about this so far, is that currently Nintendo and Illumination, they are in talks to see if it could actually be possible to go and create a Super Mario Bros. Movie. And so far the reactions to it, they can be a little bit mixed. Some can see the potential, and some are honestly a bit dreading about what's going to happen. But I just want to go and say this right now that honestly, if it were the case that Mario would actually go and get his own animated feature from a major animation studio, it's honestly not that surprising that it is coming from Illumination Entertainment. And the reason why I say this is mainly because if you also pay attention to theme park news, then you're probably aware about the upcoming Super Nintendo Land that's going to be coming at Universal Studios in Orlando and in Tokyo. So considering that Universal pretty much made, they're gonna make an entire theme park based on the Nintendo games like Mario, Yoshi, Zelda, Metroid, and so much more. Now, they didn't fully confirm what are the specific rides that are going to be there, but you can guarantee there are going to be Mario rides in there. So with that said, it's honestly not really that surprising at that point that it would be Universal themselves that would directly go and create an animated feature based on Mario. I know technically, like, it could have also been done by DreamWorks Animation since they're now also owned by Universal. But in this case right over here, like, when it comes to this little deal, and especially the connection Nintendo already has with Universal, the thing is, Illumination Entertainment, they're more directly connected with the Universal brand. It's kind of like with Walt Disney Animation Studios, they're directly linked with Disney more so than Pixar. Like, Pixar can debatably be its own thing. And the same thing can be said with the relationship with Illumination and DreamWorks. DreamWorks can be said to be its own thing, but Illumination is much more directly linked with Universal. So, of course, that would pretty much be happening. But also, I want to go and take the time right now to go and discuss about what people are fearing about this little deal that's going to be going on with Illumination's Super Mario Brothers, per se. Now, there are three explanations that I'm seeing why is it that people are worried about making this Super Mario Brothers movie, but I can think of some counter arguments onto why it could probably be a good thing, and maybe this movie might actually turn out to be good if you can probably give it a chance. Now, first and foremost, the reason why people are not too keen on this idea is mainly because of the story. And it is true that when it comes to the Mario games, I don't know if anybody would legitimately play them because of the story. Because the thing is, when you play the Mario games, the story just keeps on repeating itself. It's always the same thing. Princess Peach gets kidnapped by Bowser, and now Mario and optionally Luigi has to go and save her. That's pretty much it. And of course, you gotta go through pipes, you gotta stomp on Goombas and Koopas, and all that kind of stuff. The story is pretty much the same thing, but we don't play the Mario games for the story. We play it for the gameplay because it's enjoyable to actually go and play. We don't need to know, a lot of the backstories of the characters or, the reasons why, Mario has this new ability. We don't need expeditions. We don't need backstories. We just want a game that's fun to play. And at least on that department, Mario does deliver. Now, that doesn't necessarily translate well onto a movie. It would be a little bit like the Angry Birds movie in a sense, where you pretty much have this silly and simple concept about these birds that got their eggs stolen by pigs, and now they're pissed off, so they gotta go on this giant slingshot to go and destroy some buildings and get the pigs as well in order to go and save their eggs. That's the simple concept of the Angry Birds movie, and at least story-wise, it doesn't really translate well as a movie. And it could end up being the same thing with Mario in this case. However, I can argue that there could actually be a way to make a good Mario story and put that into an animated feature. Now, I know I just said that there mainly hasn't been a good Mario story in the games, but there do exist some actual Mario games where there is a story into it. And I'm specifically talking about the RPG games. When you think about stuff like Super Mario RPG or even the Paper Mario series, they would implement a story into it. But the one that I'm thinking specifically that can definitely work as an animated feature would actually be the Mario and Luigi games. If you guys don't know, these games, they're more comically oriented, and they do have a turn-based RPG style gameplay. And they do have a story in there, and often they can be fun to go through, the journey is enjoyable, and also it has a great comical tone. Now, I'm not specifically asking if Illumination could make a Mario and Luigi movie, but if they can go into that tone, if they can get that humor, and if they can get that type of storytelling, then it could actually work out for the movie. Now, the Mario and Luigi franchise, that can actually translate well into a movie. So if they can go in that direction, then honestly, they could go well in terms of the writing and in terms of the storytelling. Now, the second argument of why people have major doubts on this potential movie is actually because of the studio that would go and create it, Illumination Entertainment. And even as I'm recording this, there are still a lot of people that don't have their trust on Illumination just yet. I mean, I know there is that infamous hate on the Minions and stuff like that because we pretty much live in a society where we cannot go outside for 5 minutes without turning the corner and we see an image of a Minion. But also the fact that Illumination Entertainment has yet to really make an amazing animated feature. Now, stuff like the Despicable Me films, they are pretty good, but there isn't one yet that has been totally critically praised and beloved by audiences everywhere that they would sweep in some of the awards, where it would even give Pixar a run for its money. Illumination has yet to fully do that. And yeah, I mean, it definitely is true that they have yet to actually go and achieve that. And I know that maybe Illumination is not necessarily the first studio that people would go and ask to go and create a Mario movie. I know that some would probably prefer stuff like either Disney or Pixar, or even like some of the big ones from around the world, like maybe ask Aardman or ask Studio Ghibli or ask Cartoon Saloon to go and create a Super Mario Brothers movie. But I will say though, maybe Illumination is not the best option, but I could also argue they're not the worst option either. There are definitely other studios out there that they would have done a far worse job than Illumination ever could with this movie. I mean, here's the thing. It could be worse. It could have been handed to Blue Sky Studios where they would go and create a forgettably bland animated kids flick. Or it could be worse than that. It could be handed to Sony Pictures Animation where it could just be turned into a disastrous mess where all they're focusing on is to be so desperate to be cool and hip with the young kids. Or it could be worse than that. It could have been Rainmaker Entertainment and they could have just turned it into another Ratchet and Clank. That could be something that could have happened as well. So yeah, it's not the best option, but it's not the worst option either. And there is one thing I will say about Illumination Entertainment that could definitely work and they could use it to their full potential in terms of the abilities that they have been presenting with their films, is that, okay, sure, Illumination doesn't always craft the best stories for their animated features, and they don't often craft the best animations out there. That is true. But I will say this, no matter what movie it is, you will always come out with a favorite character. Rather it be from Despicable Me or Sing or The Secret Life of Pets, there is always one character that you will come out and you will remember so fondly. Like, you'll love this character much more than the movie itself, and you would just have a blast with that character no matter what. And considering that most of the people would want to go see a Mario animated feature to mainly see the characters on the big screen, they could actually use that to their full potential. Like, maybe they will immediately fall in love with characters like Mario, Luigi, Bowser, or maybe they will add in some of the side characters as well, like they'll add in Toadstool or even Captain Toad in there. And they'll make them such beloved characters that they will go crazy over. So yeah, this is pretty much to say that even though technically Illumination may not be the best option to make a Mario movie, but they're not the worst option either, and they can at least make something pretty entertaining. And finally, for the third reason why people would have some doubt about having this movie existing is mainly because a lot of people still have some PTSD over the 1993 Super Mario Brothers movie. If you guys don't know, back in 1993, Disney actually made a Mario movie starring Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo, and it honestly turned out to be a major disaster. Like, I'm not joking. The critics hate it, and it was a massive box office bomb. Like, honestly, the only good thing that ever came out of that movie is Dennis Hopper playing as Bowser, and there's this one scene where he would just point to somewhere and just go, "Monkey!" And that's pretty much it. That's the only good thing that has ever given us with that Mario movie. And yeah, it was pretty bad, and a lot of people are pretty much thinking, well, if that movie is a disaster, then chances are so will this movie. But like I said before, there are some things that Illumination can actually go and get right. And one thing that I can confirm about having Illumination is that at the very least, it's not gonna be as bad as the 1993 film. Like, that thing is pretty unique in terms of what happened because it was pretty much a disaster on its own. There have been several reports where the filmmakers and the directors working on this just have simply no idea what they're godforsaken doing, and everything was a total mess, down to the point where even Bob Hoskins had to be drunk for some scenes. Like, that's his only way to go through this movie is with godforsaken alcohol. And yeah, that's pretty much the one thing I can guarantee you is that, you know, having Illumination involved, they're not going to make something as bad as the 1993 film. However, I will say this though. Even though there are those reassurance and maybe there could be a chance that it could turn out to be good, keep in mind though that they are only still in talks. Nothing is official just yet. They're not going to officially go and create a Mario movie. And even if a deal is officially made, we're not going to be getting it for a long time. Like, at this point, Illumination has already announced which movies are going to be released up till 2020. Like, the latest that they have gone with their movies in terms of the schedule is that there's going to be Minions 2 and Sing 2 that are both going to be coming out in 2020. So, if this movie would actually be greenlit, I would expect this Mario film to be out sometime. Either, like, the earliest would be in 2021, but I wouldn't be surprised either if they would also go in 2022. So that's pretty much my prediction in terms of the release date. It's either they'll have it be ready by 2021 or 2022. But yeah, that's overall my thoughts on this Super Mario Brothers movie. So for me, I feel like I'm just gonna stay a bit cautiously optimistic. Like, I know it might not come out as the best movie, but I can trust Illumination Entertainment to make something that can be quite entertaining. We'll have to wait and see how it goes, but it's going to be pretty interesting. That's all I'm just gonna say right now, is that the fact that this thing might actually exist, it's definitely gonna be interesting.